Thank you. Wow.
That's amazing.
You should get off your arse more often.
That's
right.
That's pretty good, huh?
Wow.
And this email from Dave Morrissey. Paddy's film is amazing. Olivia's performance is one of the best I've ever seen.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave.
And you have to say, he kind of knows what he's doing. You know. P.S. Why wasn't I in it? No, that's
It's
not
too
true.
old.
You're off directing your own film. Thank you, David.
I just made that bit up.
Can I ask you something? I know the film is not specifically about this. I know that you've said that it's about a love story about two damaged characters finding each other and finding, it's surprising, and I understand that is at the centre of it. And without wishing to reduce it, one of the things that it does deal with is the spectre of domestic violence as being something which is hidden, something which is kept out of public view, and something which is appalling. I thought it handled that very well, and it seemed to me that was handled with both an intensity and a passion, which meant that it must have been a burning issue. Even though I don't think it's an issue film, I do think it does directly address that issue, and I wonder what you felt about that. Whether that was something you were conscious of speaking about in public.
Yeah, you have to be careful with when you talk of a film like this, because there's such a connection, between myself and that work, but I'm very aware that I don't want people to think it's autobiographical. At the same time, there's elements and bits and pieces in there, and I'd been around and heard enough to know how domestic violence works. Let's put it that way. If not directly, then and I guess I didn't even research it. I just wrote what I'd heard, what I'd felt, and how a mind like James's would possibly operate, because it's sort of that kind of ownership of somebody's soul. It's that slow manipulation and humiliation that's just so destroying in this film. And I didn't want to make an issue movie about any of it, but there was something there that I wanted to say too. Also, that the pains across the board. It doesn't equate itself to class. It's all manner of things go on behind closed doors.
But also, there's that very clear idea that, as Olivia mentioned in the very beginning, you see a character who's full of rage, taking that rage out on on an animal, lesser and trusting and unable to defend itself. And it seemed to me that one of the themes of it is that the way that anger is always expressed is to take it out on whether it's a father and a child, or whether it's an owner and a dog, or that's how that economy of power worked. And it did seem to me, I agree with you, it's not an issue film. It did seem to me that you had thought those things through to build that strongly into the structure of it.
Yeah, I had, and the guy I relate to most in the film is Joseph, who articulates his anger in a different way. And I think that at the beginning of the movie with the opening scene, it's not easy to watch, but within the story, it's almost like it's the point of his awakening, if you like. And it's sort of he's killed his last friend, and I think he starts to listen to his higher self in a strange way, and he's trying to pull himself away from the violence all the way through the movie. So when his friend has cancer and passes, the way he tries to articulate that is to take down this old tin shed, with a hammer. I think he's somebody who's desperately trying not to sort of lash out anymore and trying to contain this thing. And I guess that's come up in my work once or twice in the past, but I suppose with Tyrannosaur it's been my first expression away from everybody else.
You say it isn't autobiographical, it's dedicated to your mother, to your late mother. Do you want to explain why you put that in? Well,
when Peter describes his wife in the film, he talks of her being a big lady and that she had diabetes and she was blind and whatever, and that's how my mother ended up. She ended up with having her legs amputated and blind and what have you. And I guess part of the film was me sort of making an admission myself about the feelings that I had for my mother once she sort of changed form in a way. I found it hard to sort of be around her because she didn't seem like my mother anymore. So I suppose there's a little bit of a mention of me sort of getting a few things off my chest in a way, or at least just sending an apology through this film or through these characters maybe to her.
And can I ask you, in terms of the character that you play, there's an awful lot made of the fact that she's Christian. She works in this thing. She believes when somebody comes in that actually maybe they've been sent there because what they need is some kind of forgiveness. And I've read a few reviews that have sort of attempted to explain that away as being like an idea that she has to create in order to understand her own suffering. That wasn't how I responded to it. I thought that was quite sincere, that she had her belief. In fact, she's one of her angriest speeches when she says, "You come in here and you mock my beliefs." Yeah. I wonder how you felt about that.
I agree with you. That's not how I'd seen it. I think she's one of life's genuinely good people. Good. And with or without her faith, I think she'd still want to try and help others. I'd never seen it like that. I think she can't help herself. If she grew up in a country where she'd never heard of God, she'd still be the sort of person who would put her arms around someone else.
Sometimes when devout people are portrayed in films, there's a sort of a mocking tone, and it's sort of quite unbelievable. And I never got that at all. Right from the very beginning, I think that was the impression that people will take away, that this is heartfelt and passionate, and you mean every word of it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, that also seems to be supported by that email that said, "I wanted to reach you with a screen and hug." I mean, in the sense that actually she is a genuinely good character.
It's those qualities in her, the selflessness, and this character has that in abundance, and it's like the very thing that she has, that Joseph is attracted to, is the thing that James is trying to destroy in her. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Deb, on this email, I saw Tyrannosaur and the Q&A on Wednesday night in East Finchley, a sad, moving, painful and powerful film that really challenges stereotypes about domestic violence and alcohol. I can't stop thinking about it. Can you tell Paddy that Dead Man's Shoes is the best film of the last 10 years? Brilliant piece of storytelling. It's from Bobby in Pinner. Similarly, can you tell Paddy that Dead Man's Shoes is fantastic, heartbreaking, terrifying, inspiring, underrated, great British film? Paddy's performance is so good for all its stillness. Craig in Rain Hill.
Not underrated on this here programme.
No. Thomas, huge fan of Paddy since I saw Dead Man's Shoes, my favourite film of the last decade. John, just taking this on a bit, I heard, Paddy, that you're giving up acting to focus more on writing and direction. Is that true? I love Tyrannosaur and expect you'll have much further success, but also think it would be a shame if you quit acting completely. Say it ain't so.
I can't afford to quit acting, so it ain't so. No, I just try and go between the two and be a little bit more picky about what I'm doing. But I won't give up acting. But
you said there's nothing you've done has been as rewarding as directing.
No, it was. I felt like it was. I felt that I'd probably found this and call it find my calling or whatever. But I think it was an arrival for me, and it was a realisation that I maybe should have been doing this all along. And so I'll keep on writing and directing films.
Although he's in the same room with you, what is he like to be directed by? You may be rude, incidentally.
It has slightly ruined everything I do from now on, because Paddy was extraordinary, and it was. I can't really describe it without really gushing. It was. I felt incredibly safe. I felt like Paddy could tap into my head and just say the right thing for the right thing to happen. It was amazing. And something about Paddy is a nurturing presence, and you all feel safe on set, and that he knows what it feels like. So
because he's an actor.
Yeah, and so he knows that you're not incredibly brave most of the time, and you're not a show-off. You actually find it all a little bit embarrassing, and Paddy knows that, and so says the right thing to make you feel completely safe. And when you feel safe, you can accomplish anything.
Have you had experiences with directors which have been less rewarding? I'm not asking you to name names.
Well, you can if you wish.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Hopefully people have got a slightly broader and rounder impression of the film than you might get from some of the reviews and some of the reporting. There was an interview, I think it was in the Guardian, which described Hannah as, and
you
I
were
quote,
reading the Guardian, Simon? Sorry, so that every time I say it, I get come in for abuse. So,
yes, but that's because it's the only paper that you read. I read that in association with lots.
Fangoria magazine.
Yes, Marxism Today.
Yes,
anything else. So
that's very boring recently because there isn't much of it really. But
my point being that in this article it described Hannah, your role, as, quote, the most humiliated woman in the history of cinema. Now, I think I'd
have to know more about cinema to know if that
sounds strong to me.
Yeah,
it's not true, is it?
I don't think that's.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Because that doesn't quite... I mean, because clearly there is humiliation that goes on, but the whole emphasis of what you've been saying is that it's a love story and there is catharsis in there and redemption in there as well. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. You know, we're not. I don't. That's probably why I'm not hugely successful, and because not great at selling things. You know, but you know, without giving it the pitch, I don't. All I can say is that we made a movie and we made it about human beings and life as I kind of understand it, some of it, and I just hope that people feel interested enough to go and watch a movie about humans and not robots knocking the crap out of each other, you know.
we quite like those kind of films. Mark particularly.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all the Transformers movies, particularly since they're in 3D now.
And
yeah, let's do the obligatory question. Where do you both stand on 3D?
I'm not. I think when it's done well, it's fine. My kids go and they take the glasses off after 5 minutes.
Excellent.
They can't be bothered. And I think there's too many lazy films that have, you know, kind of, I don't know how they lay the 3D business on after, but they're certainly not made to be 3D.
Good.
So they're trying to sell you, you know, a
yeah, but when it's done well, it's fine.
No, but that was a tiny little caveat at the beginning. And
No, that was
actually,
the first thing you said.
All right, fine, I'll push it. Name me a 3D film in which it's done fine.
What did I want? I can't even remember, man. I go with the kids mode. There was one where it was snowing. I think it was a dinosaur thing. It was a
Snowing
cartoon.
and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Ice Age 3.
But it's only
Ice
because
Age
it felt
3,
like it was
that's snow,
snowing in
isn't it?
front of you. You know, you tried to.
Did that
touch it,
improve
that
the
was
whole
neat.
movie experience for you?
No.
No.
So I don't think
No.
I've ever really... maybe my eyes don't work in the right way.
Or maybe they don't work. 3D doesn't work for anybody because
The only
it's
time
rubbish and a
I went
con.
to the IMAX and saw a sort of like a kids, nature Beatles thing.
Yes,
And there was one point where you went, oh, and waved your arm around in front of you.
but it was 1 point.
By 1 point.
Yeah, the rest
Apart
of it.
from that, I'd
yeah.
just rather see
Stop
a
being a
better film.
hectoring bully.
I'm not being a hectoring, but I'm agreeing with them. I'm just
we
getting
see-
them to say what it is they want to say.
You see, who's Carol Thatcher next? Is that right?
Yes, I think that's the next thing. Yeah, that's the next thing.
Because Jim
coming out.
Broadbent was on just a couple of weeks ago,
Oh,
and we were
I
talking
love
about
him.
being Dennis and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, my daddy.
And he's your dad. How about that? So how has it been, Carol Thatcher?
No, it was fine. It was all right. I was, I wasn't there very often.
Did you have to do a voice?
Yes.
Can you do it?
Don't know. That's
Oh, why not? Come on,
Hectoring
remember, you
bully.
asked Simon Pegg about being Scotty. How come I can't ask her about doing Carol Thatcher? She's got a rather distinctive voice.
because you have a hectoring style. That's the problem.
So do you feel that you're being hectored?
No.
There you see.
She's just being nice. The way Paddy does bringing in your book.
That's it. And it's worked, hasn't it?
Well, Paddy, we really appreciate you coming in. There's a lot of love for you out there, and people want to, as long as you carry on acting, you can feel free to direct as well. Mark is now going to sign your book.
Yeah,
Good
well,
on you.
what's wrong with
Thank
that?
you,
He
Mark.
asked me to.
Olivia, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much
Thanks
indeed.
for having us. Thank you.
Tyrannosaur opens you. Have you got a good distribution, Paddy?
I think so. Yeah, you know, like the usual. Well, I think we're on 37 screens for the first weekend, which ain't many, is it?
Yeah,
really?
go in the
on
first
this,
weekend, you
on
have to
this
tell
little
everyone.
island.
And when you went to the hairdresser, did you say, can I have hair like Mark?
I said, can I have a Mark Kermode? And they went, yeah. And actually, I said, do you cut Mark's hair? And he said, people keep asking me that all the time, but I don't.
Where did you go?
I went to It's Something Hells in Kingley Court, just off Carnaby Street, to Mr. Ducktail.
Oh, I know, fine. I know who that is. Yeah, fine. I know he hasn't cut my hair, but I know who he is. Yeah, Mr.
Anyway,
Dodson,
Where
yeah.
do you have yours cut? Because
Well, I live in Brockenhurst, so
Oh,
I
do
might
you?
cut the Toppers in
sometimes
Leamington.
you're waiting 5 hours at Mr. Ducktail's.
Never
to
in
get your hair
Toppers.
cut.
Toppers in Leamington. They'll get
I
you
think this has
sorted.
become a specialist conversation, and it's time to stop. Thank you very much
Thanks
indeed to
very
Paddy.
much.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much
Mark.
indeed to
Thank you.
Olivia, and we'll carry on with some reviews in just